All right, God bless you all. Hopefully this right here will help. You see me throwing a spinnerbait a lot, so I'm going to take the time to show you how to make the spinnerbait that I've had here lately. You will see a link to this video at the end of the video. It'll point you back to the playlist that I have that's pretty much about spinnerbaits. You'll see all the videos that I've made about spinnerbaits. You will also see the video in that series of the other spinnerbait that I make, the 77 Special. We're going to call this one right here the 77 Double Colorado. Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's took me a little bit to find a Colorado setup that I was happy with, because it caught fish. Now the 77 Special is a double willow that took me a little bit to make, and finally I put it together and I've caught a lot of fish on it. I've always wanted a double Colorado just because a little bit of the history of a spinnerbait, you'll notice that a Colorado spinnerbait actually draws a bigger fish most of the time. Single Colorado being the best. Double Colorado has a little more lift, so it's real good for early mornings. Instead of throwing a buzz bait or something like that, you can usually take this style bait right here and wake it. But I've been able to catch quite a few fish on it, so this is the pattern that I've kind of decided to stay with for now. So I'm going to show you how to make it. No, I don't sell them, but I'm going to teach you how to be able to, if you want to take the time to do it, you can put one together yourself. Okay, so let's get to making a spinnerbait. All right, so these are all the little components that I've got. This right here is what we're going to make. I'm doing this looking through the lens, so it's going to be a little bit tough. This right here is what we're going to basically put together, though. You see it's not fancy. I've caught quite a few fish on it. It's rubbed against that right there. It's powder coated, little paint on there. And that color skirt, we're going to make it also. But first we got to put all this together on this little arm, and we'll talk about this frame here for just a second. So this right here is a 0.040 wire. You want 0.035 to 40. To me, it is a weaker wire, so you're not going to be able to get a whole lot more fish off of it. The thicker this wire is right here, when you go to order just this frame like this right here, which it comes unpainted, they've changed who I get these from, but it really doesn't matter. You can get them from whoever you want to. The hook that I prefer on these, it's a Mustad number 5, and it's an ultra point hook, so I don't have to really worry about it rolling over. That's one of the reasons why I put it together on here. That's why I wanted this head. This is one of those guppy heads, and most of the time you see me throwing it's in 1/2 ounce. And I know people are going to say, man, why in the world are you showing everybody how to do this? Why don't you sell them? And I say, well, be honest with you, I just enjoy going out and fishing, and I make enough for me to go out and go fishing. Sometimes I'll give them away to buddies and stuff that, or if I see somebody at the lake, sometimes if kids recognize me and stop me and, hey, I watch your videos, I've been known maybe to hand out and give them a spinnerbait and say, here you go, go have fun and throw this spinnerbait. It's, to me, it's just about helping people catch fish. I'm not really worried about catching all the bass. I'm not worried about winning the elites, and I'm not worried about, I don't even fish big tournaments like that. You know, even when I did, it was just little local tournaments. So to me, it's just about going out and having fun, enjoying the Lord's creation. So going back to this wire, this is a 0.040 wire. It gives just enough vibration. You're going to see these little beads on here, and we'll talk about that as we go too. First, let's talk about painting this head. So let's set this one aside and let's go into what we're actually doing here. So painting this head right here, you can do it several different ways. I'm just going to be honest with you. You can see that it's not even. You can see one side's got more orange than the other. It really doesn't matter. If you're going to sell them, sure, try to make them perfect as you want to. I've never worried about putting the little eyes in there. When you see me catching fish on a spinnerbait, any of the ones that I've made myself, I don't worry about that little eye there. The fish ain't worried about that. That's more for me and you buying them. I like that white for the head, and then this right here is a it is a red, but it's more of a fire red, so this is more of an orange color, and it just basically an attractant. Sometimes the white, when I paint it, it doesn't do good, and I kind of like that finish on it that it gives it. That's why I leave it that way. I'm not worried about it being perfectly white. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take these little beads right here, and these little beads have a little hole in the middle of them. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put one of these little beads on here. See if I can do this. It's kind of different doing it while I'm looking through. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this little clevis right here. Now what this does is part of it goes in. We're going to take this little thing right here. This is a number 3 little Colorado blade. We're going to put it on there. This is definitely different doing it like this. There we go. If I get back down here, there we go. So now we put that down through there. So now we've got that. Okay, and like I said, this is a number 3. We're going to take another little bead here and grab a hold of it. That's why I always make sure that I have a paper towel or something while I'm doing this, because these little beads like to slide around everywhere. I'm not going to bore you with putting each bead on. I'll probably speed this along so you don't have to watch me put every bead. There you go, there's another one. And what we're going to do is we're going to put, and it's just a combination that I did. I mean, I've gone back and forth while I was making this. I mean, you're free to do whatever you want to do. This is just the version of it that I use. Put one in front of that little number 3 Colorado, and then I put 5 in behind it. All right, 5 in behind it. Now, this part here, you can buy all kinds of little tools if you want to. This is just a regular small pair of needle nose pliers. And all I'm going to do is grab the end. That is literally the very end of where that's at. Okay, I'm going to put it in my finger. All I'm going to do is turn it, and I'm going to turn it to about right there, because all I want is I want that much of a little bend in it. Okay, that's all I want. I don't want it bent all the way around. Now I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to grab right here at the end. See if I can turn this sideways to kind of show you. All I'm doing is grabbing right here at the end of that little bend. Okay, and now what I'm doing is I'm making that same little bend again, because basically what I'm trying to do is, see how I'm making that little loop right there. Now you can do that loop 100 different ways, and there's gonna be a lot of people that comment, and they're gonna say, I do my loop this way and I do my loop that way, and I'm gonna say, that's awesome that you do your loop that way. Okay, this is the way that I do it. Okay, so there's that little loop there. Now, this right here is the key to this little thing. I've gone back and forth in several sizes. You can use any size you want to, these little blades. This one right here is a different one. This is a Hildebrandt Colorado blade. This is here is a number 5. I've used these before. The difference is it depends on how much lift you want. If you want a lot of lift and you want to keep it up on top, then you can take this same setup, same spinnerbait, and use this number 5 Hildebrandt. Okay, Me personally, what I've been doing here lately, and the combination that I found that suits me perfect for my style fishing, this is a 4.5 Hildebrand. Okay, so all I'm doing is taking that little thing right here, okay, it's in there for good now. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to crimp down. Just one more. All right, now I'm going to finish this off by closing it tight. That's all you got to do. Now, the only other key you have to do while you're making these spinner baits, and the most important thing you do with the spinner bait, you hold a spinner bait just like this, and you look right down that line, and everything should be in line with that hook, just like that is right there. Everything needs to be in line. That's why they talk about when you're getting a spinner bait, when a fish bends it out and you straighten it, you want it to go all the way down. This part back here needs to be lined up with the hook, and this part here needs to be lined up with this, because this part of your spinner bait isn't going to move. Okay, the only thing that's going to move is your wire, so that's going to bend around, but that right there is how I set that up for that spinner bait. There you go. There's that spinner bait put together. One thing I want to tell you about this little head right here too. You can actually, and I've done it before, so I know it works. If you don't want to fool with powder coating, which is what I usually do, another thing you can do is you can use fingernail polish. You get you a pearl white that you can use, just a regular white, pearl white fingernail polish, and then get you something that they use for like Halloween type, like that bright orange, and you can paint it all white, let it set for a few minutes. It'll dry pretty quick, and then you can come back and you can paint over it with that paint too, and I promise it'll be fine. Like I said, I've done it before, so that's no problem either. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. I'm going to show you how to make the skirt. All right, so you've already probably seen this a million times. So this is just a little tool to make a skirt for your jigs, spinnerbait, either one. You can make them all the same way. So all we did was take this little piece here. It comes with this little kit. Push it in there. This is just a little O-ring. Basically, this is the little rubber bands. They work a lot better than the regular rubber bands. Now that that's up on that plastic piece, we're going to pull this out. Okay, this is a little tube. This is a little metal rod, and it's got a little hook on the end of it. So you're going to put this right here, and I'm sure you all have seen 100 different people do this. Okay, so what I usually do is I want the blue, it's just the way that I usually do it. I want the blue to be in the middle. So I usually start off with chartreuse. Okay, and then I put the blue, and I don't know that it honestly makes a big difference. Okay, and then there we go. So all those three are on that hook. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is gently pull this into here. Don't have to go very far. Okay, so I'll take that back out. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to take a pair of scissors, take all these little corners, flatten them out, cut that off. We're going to go over here to this other side. That off. There you go. That's how you get that spinnerbait. You can work it around. You can do whatever you want to with it. But right there, you wind up with your skirt that you made. And all you have to do is come in here like this. And that is how you wind up with and then what I usually do is, it's just something that I've done here lately quite a bit. Okay, what I usually do is I go right down here below it all, and I want that whole skirt to be the same. And a lot of people cut it at angles, and you can do it however you want to, but I usually want mine just a little bit below that hook right there. There's the hook, and you can see how that skirt is barely below it. So if I decide, and that's something you've seen me do here lately, everybody always wants to put a trailer on the back, and you can, okay? But for years, I never used a trailer. All I ever do is just throw the spinnerbait just like it is. In the real clear water, if you'll take that trailer off, I think they bite it better. If you get into that muddier water, in order to give it lift without having to put a bigger blade on, and that's a whole different video about fishing a spinnerbait, but you can actually change all this up. You can do whatever combination you want this way. I mean, if you take this setup right here and say you don't want the orange, you just want solid white, and you don't want the chartreuse and the blue, all you want solid white, then you can do that. You can basically make up whatever combination you want. You may want to paint that head red and paint this little kicker blade right here red and change this skirt completely to red. You can do that as well. But this right here is just a base setup. You can switch around the colors. You can do whatever you want to do. Personally, I guess you've noticed if you've watched any of the videos that I have, 90% of the time, I would say 98% of the time, you always see me fishing the same color. The reason is, to me, a spinnerbait is, yes, it's an all-season bait, but I'm looking for specific things when I throw it. I'm not necessarily throwing it in the mornings when there's no wind. So by the time there is a little bit of wind and all that, then this color works just fine. But anyway, hope that helps you. I hope that blesses you. That's basically my version of a double Colorado. And I've been blessed to catch a few fishing already, and I'm sure that the Lord will bless me eventually, and I'll catch a few more on it. Hopefully this helped you all. Hopefully it'll teach you a little bit to how simple it really is. In our day and time, I'll just be honest with you. I mean, you go and try to buy a spinnerbait, and they want to charge you $10 to $15, and basically you're going to get the same thing out of it that you get here. If you order all these components, depending on how much money you want to put in all the components, you can buy the best pack of little swivels. You can buy, instead of these Hildebrands, you can get just a regular little nickel. You can go on eBay and find them. Biggest thing, like I said, is trying to find the sizes. So you need to find, but you can play around with that combination. You know, if you live somewhere that has a lot and real thick, you may want to go to that number 5 that we were talking about. I mean, that's a considerable bigger blade. You can go as big as you want to, you can go as small as you want to. The only thing you want to be careful with is when you're riding that spinnerbait, is if you put too much of a thump on it and you don't balance this out just right, then your bait will tend to turn as you're reeling it back in. So that's just something you'll have to play with yourself. But anyway, enough of me jabbing and talking. If you want to put your own spinnerbait together, that's the way to do it. That's just my way of doing it. God bless you all. Thank you everybody who shares the videos. I hope this helps you. Hope it helps you more than anything. Go out and have fun, enjoy the Lord's creation, because the world's something else anymore. And I tell you what, it's nice to have something peaceful that we can go out and do. And In my opinion, there's not something more wholesome out there hardly, other than reading your Bible and just going out and going fishing. So Lord bless you all. Like I said, thank you all very much for sharing the videos. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all the comments y'all give me. Y'all have a wonderful night. Don't forget, Jesus loves you. Hope this helps you catch a lot of fish. See you.